I pulled into my driveway at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday, exhausted from 3 days at the surgical conference in Chicago. The porch light was on, which was odd because Maya usually went to bed by 10 on school nights. My daughter was disciplined like that, always had been. Probably because she'd watched me work 60-hour weeks since she was 10, since her father died and left us with nothing but medical bills and a mortgage. I grabbed my carry-on from the trunk and noticed Richard's Tesla in its usual spot. That made sense. He'd been staying over more often since we got engaged 2 months ago. My mother liked to joke that he was already acting like the man of the house, which always made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't quite name. The front door was unlocked. I stepped inside and froze. They were all in my living room. My mother, Patricia, sat in my late husband's favorite chair, the one I'd kept because Maya sometimes curled up in it when she missed her dad. My sister Vivian was on the couch, wearing what looked like my silk robe, the expensive one Richard had given me for my birthday. Richard stood by the fireplace in khakis and a button-down, his arms crossed like he was posing for a corporate headshot. And Maya. My baby girl sat on the ottoman, her eyes red, her hands twisted in her lap. "What's going on?" I said, setting down my bag. "Is everything okay?" My mother stood up slowly, and I saw something in her face I'd seen my whole life but never wanted to name. Resignation mixed with something like relief, like she'd been waiting for this moment. "Eleanor," she said, "we need to talk. I'd been the responsible one my entire life. When Dad left, I was 12 and Vivian was 7. I got a job at the grocery store at 16, saved every penny for college while Mom worked double shifts at the hospital cafeteria. Vivian got to be the pretty one, the charming one, the one who didn't have to worry because Big Sister would handle it. I went to medical school on scholarships and loans, married James, a kind man who taught high school history. We weren't rich, but we were stable, happy. When Maya came, I took only 6 weeks of maternity leave because we needed my salary. James understood. He always understood. Then the cancer came. Stage 4 pancreatic, gone in 8 months. I was 33 years old with a 10-year-old daughter, a mortgage, and $300,000 in medical debt that insurance wouldn't cover. I worked. God, did I work. Double shifts when I could get them. Every surgery, every consultation, every hospital committee that came with extra pay. I paid off the debt in 7 years. 7 years of Maya eating dinner alone, doing homework by herself, growing up with a mother who was more ghost than parent. 2 years ago, I finally breathed. The debt was gone. Maya got accepted to MIT with a full scholarship. I had savings for the first time since James died, and I met Richard at a hospital fundraiser. Handsome, successful, attentive. He said I deserved to be taken care of for once. Last month, I donated $2 million to MIT, everything I'd saved and invested, plus James's life insurance that I'd never touched. The money would fund a research lab in neuroscience with Maya's name on it. My daughter would start her freshman year, not just as a scholarship student, but as a researcher with her own facility. Every sacrifice, every missed dinner, every night I came home too tired to read her a bedtime story, it all meant something. Richard proposed the next week at the hospital gala. Everyone applauded. Mom cried. Vivian hugged me and said she'd never seen me so happy. I looked at them now in my living room, at midnight on a Wednesday, and my stomach turned to ice. "Someone tell me what's happening," I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Richard cleared his throat. "Eleanor, we've been talking, and we think it's time you heard some things." "What things?" Vivian stood up, and I saw she was also wearing Richard's MIT sweatshirt, the one he'd bought ironically at the campus bookstore when we visited with Maya. It hung off her smaller frame, and there were crumbs on it. They'd been eating in my house. Comfortable. "Ellie," Vivian said, using the nickname only she was allowed to use. "You have to understand. It wasn't planned. It just happened." The words didn't make sense. They were sounds, syllables, but my brain refused to process them. "What just happened?" "Richard and I," she said, and she had the audacity to reach for his hand. "We've fallen in love." I looked at my mother. Surely, she would say something. "Stand up. Tell Vivian to stop this insanity." Mom's face was sad but not shocked. Not angry. Just sad. "How long?" I heard myself ask. 3 months, Richard said. Eleanor, I tried to fight it, but your sister, she understands me in ways. In ways I don't? You're married to your work, he said, and there was something rehearsed about his tone. You always have been. Even now, with everything settled, you chose a conference over staying home. I'm a surgeon. That conference was about a new technique that could save lives. See? Vivian said, and she actually looked excited, like she'd won an argument. That's exactly what Richard means. He needs someone who puts him first, who's actually present. I turned to Maya. My daughter stared at the floor. Maya, go to your room. Eleanor, Mom said. Let her stay. She's almost an adult. She needs to understand how relationships work. How relationships work? I couldn't breathe. You're going to give my daughter a lesson on relationships while my fiancé stands here holding my sister's hand in my house? It's complicated, Mom said. Vivian has struggled her whole life. The influencer thing isn't working out. She's drowning in credit card debt. She needs stability. She needs someone. And I don't? Mom looked at me with something like pity. Eleanor, you've always been fine. You've always landed on your feet. Vivian isn't like you. She needs this. The room tilted. I gripped the back of the couch. So that's it? I said. I'm supposed to just, what? Give you my blessing? Richard had the decency to look uncomfortable. We're not asking for your blessing. We're telling you out of respect. I've already moved my things out. And Eleanor, about the joint account. What about it? I had to transfer some funds. For Vivian. She's going to be my wife now, and she needed. How much? Silence. Richard, how much did you take? 500,000. But it's not like you need it. You just gave away $2 million. Clearly, you have resources. I felt Maya stand up beside me. My daughter, my baby, who'd been silent through this entire nightmare, put her hand in mine. Mom, she whispered. I recorded everything. On my phone. From when you walked in. Smart girl. Just like her mother. I looked at Vivian. She was smiling. Actually smiling. Like she'd finally gotten something she deserved after years of living in my shadow. I looked at Richard. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at my mother. She had her purse in her lap, ready to leave, like this was just an unpleasant task she'd helped them complete. Get out of my house, I said quietly. Eleanor, be reasonable, Mom started. Get out of my house. Vivian laughed. It was a high, nervous sound. Ellie, come on, don't be dramatic. We can all be adults about this. I am being an adult with a mortgage, property rights, and a very good lawyer. You're trespassing. You have 60 seconds before I call the police. You wouldn't, Vivian said. I pulled out my phone. Richard grabbed his keys. Come on, Viv, let's go. But I have things here, Vivian protested. Leave them, I said. Everything in this house is mine. The robe you're wearing? Mine. That sweatshirt? Mine. Every dish you ate off, every towel you used, every breath of air you took in my home while you plotted this. Mine. Mom stood up. Eleanor, you're being vindictive. No, Mom. I'm being clear. You chose your side. Now leave. They left. All three of them. Vivian tried to hug me on the way out. I stepped back like she was contagious. When the door closed, Maya burst into tears. I held her while she sobbed, her whole body shaking against mine. I hate them, she cried. I hate Aunt Viv. I hate Grandma. How could they? I don't know, baby. I don't know. We stood there in my living room, in the house I'd bought with my late husband, in the home I'd kept together with surgical tape and sheer will, and I realized something. I'd spent 15 years making sure everyone else was okay. My mother, my sister, my patients, my daughter. I'd been the fixer, the responsible one, the one who sacrificed so everyone else could be comfortable. And they'd mistaken that for weakness. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop and Maya beside me, and we investigated. Maya was 17 but brilliant. She navigated social media like a spy. Within an hour, she'd found Vivian's private Instagram messages, the ones she'd apparently been too careless to hide on her iPad, the iPad I'd bought her for Christmas. The messages went back 6 months. Not 3 months like Richard claimed. 6. Mom, look at this one, Maya said, her voice shaking. From 4 months ago. Vivian wrote. She has no idea. She's too busy playing God at the hospital to notice her fiancé needs a real woman. I read through them. My sister, detailing every intimate moment, every manipulation. Richard had started sleeping with her the week after he proposed to me. While I was wearing his ring, they were planning their future in my bed. But it was worse than that. Mom, Maya said, her face pale. Richard's company. Park Pharmaceuticals. Look. She turned her laptop toward me. FDA investigation. Pending lawsuits from 3 hospitals. Stock price plummeting. The company was drowning. I opened my banking app with shaking hands. Richard had access to our joint account, the one we'd opened for wedding expenses. The one I'd deposited $200,000 into last month. Balance, $3,247. Not just the $500,000. He'd taken everything, every penny. Maya pulled up more files. He used your name, Mom. Look at this investor pitch deck. Dr. Eleanor Chen, renowned neurosurgeon, will be joining Park Pharmaceuticals as chief medical advisor. Did you agree to that? No, there's more. He told investors that your MIT donation was partially funded by his company. He's been using your reputation to save his business. I sat back. My hands were steady now. The shock was gone, replaced by something cold and clear. Maya, baby, I need you to send me everything you found, every screenshot, every message, every document. What are you going to do? What I should have done 15 years ago. I'm going to stop being the person everyone takes from. I'm going to take back what's mine. The next morning, I called Judith Santos, the toughest attorney I knew from the hospital board. She specialized in medical fraud, but she had connections. Eleanor, she said when I walked into her office, I heard about Richard. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Be expensive. She smiled. Talk to me. I laid it out. The stolen money, the FDA investigation, the unauthorized use of my name and reputation, the investor fraud, Maya's recordings of the confrontation. Judith listened, making notes. When I finished, she looked up. You know what you have here? Tell me. You have him. Completely. The name dropping alone is grounds for legal action. The investor fraud? That's federal. And the money he took from the joint account right before this came out? That's going to look very bad in court. What about the MIT donation? I asked. He's been telling people his company co-funded it. Judith's smile widened. Did you get that in writing? Any documentation? Maya found his pitch deck. It's right there in black and white. Eleanor, MIT has lawyers who would eat him for breakfast. If he's claiming credit for a donation he didn't make, especially one that size, they'll destroy him. Good. What else? We spent 4 hours planning. Every step, every move. Judith brought in a financial forensics expert. We got court orders, froze accounts, filed motions. But the best part, the part that made my heart sing, was what we found in my safe deposit box. 23 years ago, when James and I bought our first house, we'd opened a joint emergency fund. We never touched it. When James died, I'd been so focused on the immediate debt that I'd forgotten about it. It had just sat there, collecting interest, compounding. $50,000. Small compared to what I'd lost, but it was mine, untouchable, in my name only. And there was something else in that box. James's life insurance policy documents. I donated the payout to MIT, but the documents showed the original amount, $2.3 million. Richard had told investors that Park Pharmaceuticals had contributed to the MIT donation. He'd provided falsified documents showing his company's contribution. But I had the real documents, the ones showing it was all mine, every penny from James's death. MIT's legal team was very interested in this discrepancy. 5 days after they left my house, I got a call from Vivian. Then another, then 50 more. I didn't answer. My mother called. Eleanor, please. Vivian is falling apart. Richard's company is in trouble, and now she's scared he won't marry her. She needs her sister. I hung up. Day 7. Vivian showed up at the hospital. Security stopped her at my floor. I'd been thorough. Day 9. Richard's company filed for bankruptcy. The FDA investigation had gone public. Investors were suing. The board had voted him out. Day 10. I got a call from MIT's dean. "Dr. Chen," he said, "we've been made aware of some serious misrepresentations regarding your generous donation. We want you to know we're taking legal action against Mr. Park." "I appreciate that. We've also been thinking. Your daughter Maya starts here next fall. We'd like to invite you to join our medical faculty. A position just opened up in our neurosurgery department. We could use someone with your expertise and integrity." I looked out my office window at the Boston skyline. This city had taken everything from me. Maybe it was time it gave something back. I'd be honored. 3 weeks after that night in my living room, I stood in a conference room at MIT with Maya beside me. The press conference was packed, cameras everywhere, questions shouted from reporters. The dean spoke first, explaining the situation. A pharmaceutical CEO had fraudulently claimed credit for a donation he hadn't made, using a respected surgeon's name without permission to inflate his company's reputation. Then it was my turn. "I'm Dr. Eleanor Chen," I said into the microphone. 23 years ago, I married a good man who taught high school history. We weren't rich, but we built a life. When he died of cancer, he left us with debt and a small life insurance policy. I spent 15 years working to pay off that debt and save for my daughter's future. This donation to MIT wasn't just money. It was every shift I worked when I was too tired to stand, every dinner I missed with my daughter, every sacrifice my late husband would have wanted me to make for our child. I paused, looking directly at the camera. Someone tried to steal that. Not just the money, but the meaning. They tried to take my work, my reputation, my sacrifice, and use it for their own gain. They thought I wouldn't fight back because I never had before. They thought I was too tired, too beaten down, too grateful for scraps. Maya squeezed my hand. They were wrong. I am not a doormat. I am not a resource to be exploited. I am a mother, a doctor, and a woman who knows her worth. And I'm here to tell anyone watching, if someone takes from you, take it back. If someone uses your name, reclaim it. If someone bets on your silence, prove them wrong. The questions came fast after that, but Judith handled them. Maya and I left through a side door and walked across campus to the neuroscience building, the one that would bear her father's name. The Eleanor and James Chen Center for Neural Research read the sign. Maya cried. I held her. "Your dad would be so proud," I whispered. "He'd be proud of you, Mom, for fighting back." That night, my phone buzzed. A voicemail. Number blocked. I almost deleted it. Then I pressed play. "Eleanor, it's Mom." Her voice was thin, strained. "Vivian is in bad shape. Richard left her. He's gone, fled to another state. The IRS is investigating her for tax fraud on all those gifted designer bags you bought her over the years. She has nothing. I have nothing. We need help. We need you. Please call back." I listened to it twice. Then I deleted it. Maya came into my room. "Was that Grandma?" "Yes." "What did she want?" "For me to fix things. Like always." "Are you going to?" I looked at my daughter, this brilliant, strong, beautiful girl who'd watched me sacrifice and struggle and survive, who'd recorded evidence when she needed to, who'd stood by my side when everyone else walked away. "No, baby, I'm not. Some things are meant to stay broken. That way, you can see clearly what they always were." 6 months later, Maya and I moved to Cambridge. I started my position at MIT. She started her freshman year. We got a small apartment near campus, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Richard was indicted on multiple counts of fraud. Last I heard, he was facing federal prison time. Vivian's social media influencer career collapsed when the tax investigation went public. Her sponsors dropped her. Her followers abandoned her. She was working retail, living with Mom in a one-bedroom apartment in a part of town I'd grown up trying to escape. Mom sent one more message 3 months after we moved. "I hope you're happy now. You destroyed your own family." I read it to Maya over breakfast. "What are you going to say back?" she asked. "Nothing. She can't hear it anyway. Some people think family means putting up with anything. That blood is thicker than boundaries. They're wrong. Family is the people who show up, who fight for you, who don't ask you to sacrifice your dignity so they can feel comfortable." "So we're a family of 2? I smiled. the best family I've ever had. Maya hugged me. Mom? Thank you. For what? For showing me that it's okay to walk away, that it's okay to say no, that just because someone's blood doesn't mean they own you. I held my daughter, this person I'd raised through grief and debt and exhaustion, and realized something. Every sacrifice had been worth it. Not because it led to money or position or revenge, but because it led to this moment, in this small apartment, with this incredible person who understood that love isn't about taking, it's about choosing. You know what the best part is? I said. What? I'm not invisible anymore. Not to the people who matter. Maya pulled back and looked at me. Really looked at me. Mom, you were never invisible. They just weren't worth being seen by. She was right. I'd spent years being the person everyone needed me to be. The fixer, the responsible one, the one who made everything work, while everyone else took. But I wasn't that person anymore. I was Dr. Eleanor Chen, professor of neurosurgery at MIT, mother to a brilliant daughter, and survivor of people who'd mistaken my kindness for weakness. They'd wanted me to be small, to stay in my place, to keep giving while they kept taking. Instead, I'd taken back my name, my reputation, my life, and I'd never felt bigger.